Yep. Yo, what's up, family? Welcome to another episode of All Faith, No Fear, where fear keeps us bondage and faith pushes us to its destiny. Y'all, I have the privilege to have a very special guest. I met this brother in theology school. So I ain't in theology school right now, but I'm gonna go back and soon. I had to take me a little break, but I'm gonna go back. But we got I have the privilege of introducing Pastor Amos Valentine. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Doing good. Another day, you know, another day that we above ground. That's all I care about.
That's the best day. That's the best day, man.
All day, yeah, because
Yes, sir.
people leaving this world every day. So to be able to be above ground and live, have the activity of your limbs,
Right,
it's a true blessing,
right, right,
man.
man. Right, man.
So Pastor Amos is the pastor of, and I love this church name. It's called Motivation Ministries.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where did you come up with that name? How'd you come up with that name? Because I've never seen that before.
Man, listen. So, um, I was praying. We were praying. Direction. We were tasked to start a Bible study from my pastor. At that time was Pastor Brenda Carter, and she was like, start a Bible study, find a spot. And so he was like, hey, where do we find the name? Like, what's the name? And I was sitting, we were actually on vacation. And this is the one time that I was allowed to still talk church to my wife while we was on vacation, right? And so, you know how it is.
All
And so,
day.
so we were sitting there and I said, hey, what if we just like for me myself, I like to motivate people. I like to encourage and kind of push people towards destiny or whatever in life. And so I was like, motivation ministry just like popped out, like it was out of nowhere. I didn't want to do it. I fought against it, but God kept revealing it to go that way because that's who we are by
Mhm.
nature. We love to motivate people, to push them, to encourage them to do whatever God has called them to do. So yeah, that's really how it started. It was like Valentine's Day weekend, right after COVID had got over. Gosh, it was like 2021 when we
Okay.
came up with that name. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's good. Motivation ministry. So when you say like you motivate people, um, like could you speak a little bit more about that? Like, is it of course, since it's the name of your church, like the church aspect, but are other aspects of it that you like to motivate people in and stuff of that nature?
right. So yeah, so a lot of times when you think motivation, you always think positivity. So you gotta be one of those ones who can see where you are and admit where you are, and in order to get motivated forward. So like I love to work
Mm,
out, but I had to be honest with who I was at that time. Like I wasn't a person who liked to work out. I was eating crazy, still doing whatever I wanted to do as far as a healthy lifestyle. So when we say motivation, it is you get the whole package of what motivation is. You don't always get the positive. You got to get that feedback or that constructive criticism, as many would call it, to say, hey, you're here, but God wants you there. You
mm,
got to admit that you are here. A lot of times we don't like to admit that, or you'll look at me as the bad guy. I'm like, you don't need to tell me what I should be doing. But no, you know what, you're here, and you shouldn't settle for here, because here ain't the place where God wants you to be. He wants you to be there. He wants you to
mm.
be always improving, always growing. So that's what aspect of motivation we kind of bring. So yeah.
Could definitely make sense, and especially to the point where you were saying you got to acknowledge where you are. And
Right.
I feel like a lot of people nowadays do not want to acknowledge where they are. They just want to see the end goal, and that's
Right.
it. They don't want to see where they at right now,
Right.
and the different things that they got to work on just to get to the end goal.
Right. That's we want to be patted on the back a little bit. Like you want to be celebrated for here or for a place that you have never reached yet. Like you hadn't gotten there yet. Like, but you want to be celebrated for being there. So that, like I know No, we gotta be honest. We gotta be honest. Yeah.
Very, very true. And it's like I see that all the time, even for myself. Like I had to realize, okay, Rodney, this is the issue you got. You're not disciplined in certain areas.
Right.
You don't do what you're supposed to do in this area. So
Right.
like I had to write all that stuff down and actually look at it and be like, wow, this is who I am right now. But again, when God show you something, that's what, like you said, that's what he wants you to be. But he don't show you the in-between steps of how you got to get there. So it's like, I just want to get to the end goal.
Right. And we don't, and we talk about it, and we don't like the process. We like you said, we want to be where he showed us now. Not realizing, like Joseph, he'll show you the dream, but he doesn't tell you where he doesn't tell you the steps and stages of it. That's called life. That's called the ups and downs. And then you'll one day look at, oh man, I'm in a place where like this is it. But your dream doesn't happen where you are. He has to take you through the steps and the stages to get you to where he wants you to be. We don't like the step and the stages, man. We don't like the process. We want to immediately be there. Right. Like so yeah.
Immediately. Definitely. Yeah. So like say a newcomer coming into you. I'm not gonna even say a newcomer, but for someone that you see that is like fearful and taking those steps, that fear has them in bondage and stuff like that from taking those steps. Like they know where they want to go, but they're fearful of those things. Like, what do you say to a person like that?
For me, I use personal testimony. I was like that. I let fear cripple me, so to speak. I let the fear of the unknown and the fear of people, and I tell even our congregation is we have to at some point realize who I am and what he wants me to do, and have to operate outside of my fear. Like I have to step outside of the fear zone and step into what we would call faith, into the unknown. And that's what happened even with ministry, and that's what happens through life and job changes. We don't like change and we don't like the unknown. We got to relinquish. That's what faith is. Like it's me giving him the control and following where he wants me to go. Right. And so we want control so bad, and we'll let that control fear hinder us from wanting to go forward. And I did for years, man. I let that fear cripple me of stepping out, starting ministry from the ground up. Who's gonna show up? What happens next? What if they leave? Like all those type of fears will start playing in your mind and crippling you, and you will never become what he wants you to be. So that's what, and that's what I tell people. Like we have to step outside of fear and step into what we consider the faith zone.
Very, man, that is so true. I could testify to that too, because for like I've said many a time, so long fear had me gripped, like had me by the chokehold. Like I didn't want to, I ain't want to preach, I ain't want to like speak, none of that type of stuff, or ministry wise. Even this podcast, like I had tried doing this like 3 times before, and I do like 3-4 episodes, and then I'll stop.
Oh, wow, yeah,
because I wasn't getting the engagement of what I thought I was getting. And then another thing I was doing, I was comparing to myself that had already been in this thing for a long time. I'm like, now it's like, I look back, I'd be like, how could I compare myself to someone that's been in this thing for years and I only done 3 episodes? So, that is so true, and then for me, like, I just had to come to a place of like, okay, Rodney, how long are you going to allow fear to hold you up?
Right.
And then like you said, you didn't know if like people was going to show up and my biggest thing was the responsibility of people looking at me. Because if I mess up, then it's like, people will turn quick on you if you mess up, if you do something. So, God has spoke to me and said, like, who told you that I would throw you away?
I like that.
Yeah, he was like, who told you, even if you mess up, who said that I would throw you away?
Right.
So that's what made me overcome my fear, knowing that even though I knew it before, but just for him confirming it and reassuring me like that he's backing me no matter what I'm doing. So
right.
yeah.
And I can say this. A lot of times we worry, and I think you said it best. People can be our biggest fear factor, man. Like and self. Like, and oftentimes I would think, what if the spiritual? What if the prophecy came true? What if you do make it? Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of that stuff plays in the mind, and like you said, you got to really realize and come to the understanding that God is with you, even if they don't receive you. God told me this. God told me to start this, and like you said, I was comparing myself to people who have done this for a long time, who have sat at the table with giants, and I'm like, man, I ain't got there yet. Like, is this what God? Are you sure you called me to this? Like like you see where they are and you see where you are, and it don't look like the same, as opposed to measuring to what God said. Like, God, you said do this, and consistency, and that is my biggest pet peeve. My biggest consistency. Keep doing it regardless. Like, you got to start somewhere. They start in the biggest motivators, motivational speakers. They started somewhere and started with what they had. And you got to keep trying consistently, day after day. You don't feel like it, but still do it. Like, you don't want to do it, still keep going. If he told you to bake cakes, still keep baking your cakes and doing what God told you to do, even if you got to give content away for free.
True.
A lot of times we look at it and be like, hey, man, I'm not getting paid like what they doing. Even if I got to give it away for free, that's still me doing what God called me to do until somebody blesses me and I get landed into the right path to somebody. So yeah.
Very true. And like the consistency part, that is the biggest thing. It's three things you said. I feel like the people, comparison, and consistency. I'm gonna call those the 3 C's. Them are the biggest things that people are fearful of, and that what holds them back. People, comparison, and consistency. Like, I believe if you ask anybody that's in fear, they're gonna say one of those 3 things.
You got to. They're gonna say it, man. Because look at, we are human. Like, I don't care how spiritual you are. I don't care whatever we see. We want to see. Like, and so if I don't see results, I'm not gonna be as consistent. Like, if I don't see people response, I'm not gonna do it no more. If I look at what they doing, then don't compare. Like, we want to see results. We want to see change. Anybody who works out in a gym wants to see those results, right? Anybody who, if you're a business person, we want to see results, and I don't care what whoever said. They're like, oh no, don't worry about the numbers, but we want to see it. Like, we want to see, is what I'm doing effective?
Even if it ain't even got to be much of
right.
You know what I'm saying, a result, but we just want to see some type of result. Like, if you like you said, if you in the gym, you either want to see some pounds lost, a cut here and there, something like that, just to let us know, like, okay, we on the right track. We just got to keep going, keep going. Now, if you ain't seeing those results, like you said, it's just like, okay, what am I doing this for?
Yeah.
What's the reason? What's the purpose? You know what I'm saying?
Or get that positive feedback, like somebody speaking into you, hey, I watched it and it was really dope. And then you're going to want to keep doing it again. So, like, that type of stuff, it plays. Like, we'll sit there and we'll say, hey, man, keep going. You know, God is using you. but I want to know. I want to give me feedback. Like, no, don't be spiritual in this moment. Stop that. Let me know. Let me know. That's how I am, man. That's
True.
Let me know. Did it bless you? So I went to speak at a church, right? And spoke. I was like, okay, let's go. Man, hopefully, went well. And so, yes, minister. And the guy that was sitting in the back, right, who seemed real calm, cool, collected, came up at the end and he was like, hey, man, I just want you to know, because most preachers don't get this opportunity for somebody to come and tell them. Most of the time they leave and they don't hear back feedback. They'll just leave. And so he said, hey, bro, I want to tell you that what you said was on point. Like, that type of feedback lets you know, hey, I'm on point. Like, you ain't got to be it ain't all that spiritual, whatever.
Yeah.
Just let me know. Just let us know. Like, let us know that what we're doing is right.
I'll tell you, like, hey, that makes a whole difference in the work. And don't get me wrong, like, we have our spouses, and it's our spouse's job to tell us that we did a good job. So it don't matter what. It don't matter, you know what I'm saying? It don't matter, you know what I'm saying? They the closest to us, so of course they're going to encourage us. But to hear that, just that, even if it's just one person to say, hey, man, what you said, it hit me. You know what I'm saying? That makes a whole lot of difference, man. You probably feel like you on top of a mountain when you hear just that one person, let alone a lot of people. But you know what I'm saying? I get it. Like you said, all of us are human. All of us want that encouragement somewhere in our lives.
Right.
And so, yeah, we gotta do better as a people too. To encourage one another, not hate on one another, but to encourage one another. Because, you know what I'm saying? I hate to say it, but it's a church on every block.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's all because like somebody don't like somebody and they want to start their own thing,
right?
And all that type of stuff. And instead of just coming together and really trying to fix and see how we can gel together and work together, instead of just going to start your own ministry. Like, unless God called you, don't do it.
Don't do it. Because you either got to be called or crazy. And if you called, then it's crazy. So either way, you got to, because it's a lot of responsibility and a lot of pressure and a lot of, it's a great calling, awesome calling to pastor. But at the end of the day, you still got to respond. Like you said it earlier, the fear of the responsibility. Because you don't just represent you represent them people you shepherding. And they represent you. Like, you got to make sure that you on point and they on point. And so, like, you got to, because the first thing somebody say is somebody mess up, you either be a meme, a TikTok reel, or you're going to be the new or the conversation at somebody's dinner table on Sunday afternoon. Like, quick. Like, quick. They're going to post something about you regardless. You know what I mean? If you're doing it. We got to be more quick, and I think you said it best, to celebrate others and to work at coming together more than posting the negative or sharing the negative. But that's what cripples a lot of people to fear. Like, if I see you doing it, I don't want to do it.
True.
Because if I see you doing it and it's bringing negative, why do it?
Bruh.
Why go down that direction? So
and what amazes me is Larry Reed. He have a story every week, almost every day, and I'll be like, how in the world y'all people still out here doing stuff and don't think you ain't gonna get caught?
You gonna get it. They gonna get you, man.
Or you think God ain't going to expose you? He only gonna let you do it for so long, and then you gonna get exposed. And I'm like, y'all ain't learned the lesson yet.
Because you represent, and it's a responsibility, bro. Like, it's a and that fear of the responsibility is what holds a lot of people up. Because if you do it wrong,
man, they're gonna crucify you. They gonna go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
And when they crucify you, it's no telling. God will forgive you, and He can restore you back. But at the same time, the people ain't gonna never forget what you done. They ain't gonna never forget, and they gonna always bring it up. They gonna always throw it up in your face. So, and like, it's almost like a point to like, okay, God, I messed up. Do you really want me to go back out there? Do you really want me to go back out there? Because they know what I did. They're gonna always bring it up. So it's like, just keep me low for a minute. I ain't ready to go back. Ready to go back out there in the open, like
and not realizing, and you said it best. Like, we are quick to cast you out. We are quick to, and the council culture, we're quick to be like, okay, I don't want to listen to that person no more. Like, I don't want to do that no more. Like, I don't want to go to that church no more. I don't want to go to that store no more. Like, we are quick to counsel you out as opposed to if the shoe was on the other foot. Right, you want somebody to help you and cover you, but we're quick to counsel, dismiss, expose, regardless, especially if you got that responsibility or the weight of that responsibility. Like, you're in human eyes, you're done almost.
Yeah.
In God's eye, He can restore you, but you still got to make it up to them people that you done let down, or those people who wrote you away. I mean, it shouldn't be that way, but it is.
Yeah.
That's how we are.
And that's not even the way of the Bible. The Bible says to cover your brother and your sister, cover your neighbor. We expose quickly and be happy to do so.
Because especially it says you who are spiritual, right? You who are spiritual, like you should cover, restore such a one who has fallen, who has been overtaken in a fall. Like, and we don't do that. Like, but we want it in return if it's us.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because to be honest, there's no perfect. Because we all have had our moments, but now it's almost like do unto others as you want them to do unto you. But it still don't work that way. Like, they gonna get you, man.
They gonna get you. I'm telling you, they gonna get you. I have experienced it to where a whole church has turned their back on me, like just left me in the dry, and I'm like, bro, like, y'all don't care about my soul,
right?
Like, it's like, y'all don't care about my soul. Y'all care about the action I did, but at the end of the day, the action I did, there was a root to my action. So let's get to the root of why I did what I did.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, my soul is on the line.
Right. That part. Like, even if so, you're sending away a soul, not a person. Let's uncover it. You're sending away a soul, right? And we're causing that lost sheep to leave. Right. It's one thing if he wanders off on his own, but it's another thing if we are dismissing him or her to leave because of an action they done. Normally, if you do it, you get corrected and you stay within the fold. Now it is leave.
Bye. Go.
Go or sit in the back and don't say nothing, as opposed to trying to help restore and trying to help cover and trying to help get that person back on their feet. Because here's the other flip side of it. It said after you have been converted, or after you have been restored, turn back and strengthen somebody else. So there's somebody else that is going through what you went through, but you can't go back and strengthen them because you're out here trying to defend your character or defend your name because they done dismissed you, man. But yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, we gotta do better. We gotta get back to the Bible. At the end of the day, we just got to get back to the Bible and stop with all the opinions of what people think the Bible is saying, and really just get to the Bible. Just, you know what I'm saying? Do what it say.
He tells you. I mean, he tells you. He literally puts it all out there for you. For your situation or what you're going through or how you should behave. Like, it clearly tells it. Love one another or cover each other, restore each other. You know, like it brings unity.
Very true.
It brings us into unity and harmony. and like you said, like the podcast, we walk in that fear because we see other people doing it. We can't really reach those who are teetering between fear and faith because they're seeing how we acting. Right. So it's, do I come over or do I just stay where am at? And yeah, I see it so many times, bro. Like I want to come to church, but I just been church hurt, or I want to step into what God has called me to, but I just see how Christians or followers or believers, however you want to put it, are acting towards each other. Or I want to start the business, but I see how we're treating each other, and we'll rather go support the $200 brand as opposed to supporting helping me come off the ground. So like we don't want to support each other, or we're fighting each other in our business. Right, it ain't always spiritual or kingdom. Like we'll go listen to somebody else's podcast. Let's call it. We'll go listen to somebody else's who don't know us, but won't come listen to you who I see every day, or who I engage with every day, or who I know gonna put out something awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, I seen a post the other day where this guy he does workout training, and he said it amazes him that all of his clients that he has ever had, none of them was never his friends, or none of them was never his families. It was all outside people. So he was saying like, don't expect for your friends or your family to be the ones that support you the most. He was and he was saying like it's like 8 billion people in this world. He's like, don't worry about the circle of people that you got around there. Just keep pushing. As you said earlier, that consistency. Because one day he was like, all it's gonna take is one moment, one viral post, one conversation with somebody that would change your whole entire life. And so that's why I feel like people need to get with when it comes to that consistency part, because you never know. You never know what can happen. You never know what God can do with what you doing, what you working with. So yeah, that's a big thing. And then we got to stop fighting each other. We got to stop trying to be in competition with one another. Just bring your ideas together and make it bigger. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because his quick consistency part, right? So if you follow me on social media or whatever,
the man be in the gym, y'all. He be in the gym every morning.
I post it, right? I post it every morning. Here's what's crazy about consistency, right? My wife was going to Krispy Kreme to buy donuts for her school that she was working at the time. And the guy who was working at the window at the time, he was like, "Hey, I know your husband. His name is Amos. Blah blah blah." You know, like she didn't know nothing. She didn't know him. Don't know him, but he's telling her like just about my whole life.
Wow.
And come to find out that he followed me on social media. We went to school together in college. And then here's the crazy part. He gave her the donuts for free, man. Just because I kept consistently posting, kept doing it. And he was like, hey, man, he's like, I see him every morning and he just blesses my life. So if you consistently keep doing it, somebody's going to notice it. And you never know what God steps ordered or whatever. Like, yeah, man. So for me, consistency is such a vital part that you never know who's gonna watch. You never know who you're gonna run into. You never know who you're gonna bless. You just because you don't control that part. You
At
just
all.
control what you do, and you keep showing up and you keep doing. What happens is somebody will see it, and you can be downtown at a restaurant, and they're like, "Hey, man, I saw what you was doing. I'm gonna pay for your whole meal." Like it's you just never know, man. Like
yeah, and I can attest to that. My wife, she does her motivational word every day, and I mean, it has blessed so many people. Like she just get random cash outs. People just sow into her. You know, we be in the street, we be like, oh, I know you from your motivational. So
Mm-hmm.
you never know, like, you know what I'm saying, who you reaching, who you touching when it comes to your consistency. Cause you know, people love a story.
Yeah, they do.
People love to follow a story. And if it's a
Right.
good story, they're gonna
They're gonna
follow
get
it.
following. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna get all on it. So man, that's so good. So I know by the time I air this episode, you gonna be in your faith series. I
Right.
seen you finna be on the faith series. So
Man.
just don't give it all, but just give a little bit of some of the things that you're gonna be
Man.
just talking about,
Uh,
speaking
um,
about.
it's crazy. So I started kind of diving into it a little bit a couple of Sundays ago. Like I've been off from preaching for like the past 2 Sundays, man. So you got to pray for me because I can't wait to get back in. Get back in. And so I've been trying to dissect and pray and think through the process of when it says if you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, right? So just diving through the whole story of what was going on. And one of the things that really stuck out to me was Jewish Matthew, in terms of Matthew, he was writing the story. He was writing this to tell us that he's writing to Jewish people. They understand what a mustard seed is. And so in understanding what a mustard seed is, so he's using it, something so small. That's the reference. And so Jesus went up to the mountain of transfiguration, and you gotta be careful who you take up with you. So he only took 3 people up with him. So I always tell people that he took 3 people up with him. You got to be careful who goes up with you. Like you got to be careful who ascends with you in your up moments, because not a lot of people can handle your next level. That was somebody who's gonna watch it later on, whoever. Not a lot of people can handle up moments.
Very true.
This is where Jesus shows them who he really is. He exposes and he gets glory shining, and like so he's up there, and at the bottom of the same mountain, at the bottom, there's this guy, and he's bring his demon possessed child to these disciples who follow Jesus. And what happens is they can't cast him out. So when Jesus comes back down, he casts the demon out, right? And so the whole thing of it was, when you read Matthew, you see that Jesus sent them away. Matthew 10, 11, and they cross-reference. They had so much power. They had anointing. They laid hands on people, and they were casting out devils, and Mark, whatever. But in this one particular chapter, if you're in Matthew 10 and Matthew 11, they could do it. But in Matthew 17, there was something missing. They could not cast the demon out, right? So, and that was what shouted me, because a lot of times we'll try something that we did before, and it doesn't work in this season. There's something missing. Right?
Wow.
So in this chapter of my life, that I could do it 2 years ago, but now it's like it's off, something off. So what really he was telling them, hey man, the reason why you couldn't do it was because of your faith. You got so comfortable in doing it that you started lacking the faith in doing it. Right. And so a lot of times that's who we are. We get so comfortable doing it, and then there's only certain things that you got to accompany prayer and faith together. Right. You got to put prayer and faith together. A lot of times we pray, but we really don't have the faith for it. Like, or
we don't believe it.
I'm so confident. That's what faith is. Like, I'm confident in who God is that I don't even pray. Like I'm so, it's almost become like ego. Like it's almost like arrogant.
Like you don't even need them no more, because you know you could do it.
I can do it. Right. And so they doing it. Jesus said, hey man, I can't do it. They was like, hey Jesus, why couldn't we do it? He said, hey man, it's your faith. If you had the faith the size of a mustard seed, it can move the mountain. Right. something so small can move something so major. So that's where it is. A lot of times we think we got to have great big faith. All you need is a small amount of faith, bare minimum. Those disciples didn't have the bare minimum to cast out the devil. It was bare minimum. Like, you don't even need large amounts of the faith. Like, you just need a small amount of, and here's what I love about it. It really showed us that there are some things I can't do. I got to have enough faith in God that He can do.
Very true.
That's what faith is. And so when you think faith, it is me. It is not some mental connection, right? I think a lot of times we say, if you believe it, you can receive it.
You can receive it.
It's not a mental connection. Faith isn't mental. It is really believing in my heart that God can do more than what I can do. Because if I could do it, it would have been done. And so that's what I meant with the whole faith process is, all I got to have is something so small. You think you got to have major to do major things. You have to have something small to move a major mountain. The mountain is major, but my faith only has to be small.
Only has to be small.
I mean, it grows. We talk about that. Your
of
faith,
course.
Your faith grows through life. But I think we preach it so big faith. Yeah, big faith. No, a small faith to move a major mountain, man. I think we make it so big for people to understand. No, and whatsoever you say, you can tell the mountain where to go. That's how small your faith has to be, bro. Like, that's how small. So that's what I'm at. I ain't gonna get too caught up.
Don't give it up.
I want to get caught up, but I'm not gonna do it, man. Yeah.
Because I want. Okay, I don't know what happened just now.
You froze. It was like,
I froze on my end too. But I want the people to go and listen to it as well. But that is such a good analogy or a good passage in the Bible to speak on, because we do think it needs, it requires a lot of faith. But like you said, it's only that mustard seed. And if you really know the size of a mustard seed, you could put it like in your pinky.
Right.
And it's still small in your pinky. Mm-hmm. And just to let people know, that's all you need to keep, you know what I'm saying, to move a mountain. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have mountains in their life that they need to move, and they don't know how to do so. So I really do believe your series is going to be helping people.
Man, that's the goal. That's the thing. That way, because we needed to operate, man. If you don't have no faith, it's impossible. Like, and my faith should cause me to action. Like, I'm.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, and I say it all the time on this podcast. The Bible says to please God, it's impossible to please God without faith. Right. So if you can't please God without faith, you can't do nothing else on this earth without faith.
No. And then faith and works.
Yeah.
They go together. So if I have faith, I can move. Yeah. Not just, and a lot of times the mountain is me.
That's a whole nother topic to go into.
Sometimes I'm out. And so if I can't move me to move to action,
man, that is so good, man. It was a pleasure to have you on, Pastor Amos. Just let people know, like, where they could follow you, your church page, and all that type of stuff like that, so they could get connected with you if they want to get connected with you.
Yeah, man. We have Facebook. You can either follow us on Motivation Ministries on Facebook. We have an Instagram page as well, and or you can follow Pastor Amos Valentine on Facebook or Instagram, as well as those. We have YouTube channel. Most of our services are just strictly on Facebook. So yeah.
So y'all know how to get in contact with him, how to reach him. If y'all want him to come speak at y'all church, I'm telling you, a great speaker. He'll come wreck your church. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to do some repairs after he get through preaching, but it's good.
Don't do it, bro.
Again, I want y'all to like, tag, and share this. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the Instagram as well. Leave a review on what you liked about the episode, things that stuck out to you. Please let us know. That lets us know what we're doing is good. And if there any constructive criticism, please let us know as well. You know what I'm saying? Always in the business of getting better and doing better, and the things that I want to do, because I want this podcast to grow, and I want it to be better and better and better each and every week. But I thank each and every viewer and every listener for tuning in. And remember, fear keeps you in bondage and faith pushes you to your destiny.